A global pandemic calls for a global solution. But what exactly does that look like?
One part of the solution is vaccination. Widespread access to vaccines will slow the spread, prevent severe illness, and keep health systems and healthcare workers from being overrun and overworked.
In short, vaccines will save millions of lives. To reach this impact, we need a lot of vaccines, billions of them.
And we can't just vaccinate where we are. We have to vaccinate everyone globally.
If every country needs vaccinations, then why is it that countries like the US and other wealthy countries are getting a disproportionate amount of vaccines while less wealthy countries will be without vaccinations until 2024?
Not only will people who contributed to vaccine testing and development in the global south not get access to vaccines, millions of people will die unnecessarily. That would be a catastrophe for human civilization, with the highest concentration in the lowest income nations also.
That is vaccine nationalism. That is vaccine apartheid.
Seeing what is clearly a global problem through a nationalist lens will only further tensions between countries and strengthen right-wing movements around the world.
And from an economic perspective, all economies, including those of the global north, will suffer from slow and unequitable vaccination.
This only makes clear that no one is safe unless everyone is safe.
But this unique hardship brings unique opportunity for global solidarity. We can come together and ensure that human rights are respected for everyone, regardless of where they live or how much they have.
We can end the pandemic with smart policy and social movements demanding our governments put the interest of people first. Public health experts have put forth many proposals, and we need them all to emerge from this pandemic strong and united.
COVAX is a platform created by the World Health Organization that was intended to support all countries to get access to vaccines. But in reality, some countries are paying more, particularly low and middle income countries in Africa. COVAX was only designed to be able to cover a mere 20% of people in a given country, putting it far below the necessary vaccination rate. And even to reach that 20% goal, COVAX is still short $4.3 billion.
The COVID Technology Access Pool, which is a centralized location through the World Health Organization to compile COVID-19 health technology-related knowledge, intellectual property, and data. Through CTAP, more companies and manufacturers would have access to the know-how to produce vaccines. But CTAP is voluntary and has limited buy-in so far.
The Trade-Related Intellectual Property Rights Agreement, or TRIPS, of the World Trade Organization is a key barrier to scaling up production. If member countries of the WTO agree to waive parts of the TRIPS agreement, it would overturn typical intellectual property restrictions that limit vaccine access. This would allow for countries to choose whether only a few companies have rights to produce and distribute the vaccine, or to open up the opportunity for the production and the distribution of cheaper, generic versions of the vaccine. Led by India and South Africa, 100 countries have supported the waiver.
So what's the catch? If we all agree that global vaccination is the only path to ending the pandemic, why is the US joining with other countries to block the waiver?
The sad answer is that the Biden administration is doing it to protect the profits of the pharmaceutical industry, an industry that's publicly funded, but whose profits are largely reserved for billionaire private investors.
The President Biden has made public comments promising a very different vision for vaccine distribution.
Will you ensure there are no patents to stand in the way of other countries and companies mass producing those life-saving vaccines?
Absolutely, positively. This is the only humane thing in the world to do. So the answer is yes, 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 yes. And it's not only a good thing to do, it's overwhelmingly in our interest to do it as well.
Thank you for that commitment.
Biden has a real interest in restoring the broken relationships between the US and other nations left over from the destructive Trump years. As our new president, He has a responsibility to work in the interest of all of us everywhere to end the pandemic quickly and equitably.
This is a chance for us to fight for justice. This is a chance for us to fight for our own safety because, again, no one is safe until everyone is safe.
To end the pandemic here.
To end the pandemic here.
To end the pandemic here.
We have to end it everywhere.